For my wire choir assessment, I have rearranged the song Yesterday by the Beatles for 4 vocal harmonies. I have taken into account several aspects of the song itself and also the arranging process, and will go into detail for each of these in my presentation. As I am aware, the song Yesterday was originally written as a love song, but it transpired that actually it's a song about the death of the writer's mother. This makes the song rather sad and emotional, which influenced my decisions heavily in regards to several things throughout this arrangement. I wanted my piece to convey the heartache and sombre quality of the song by using minor harmonies and almost woeful vowel sounds, such as ooh and ah. I chose to arrange my wire choir piece in a blues style. I felt that this suited my vocals more than the original style, and is a style I feel more comfortable working in general. Initially, I wasn't sure what genre to go for, I just knew I wanted to change it up a bit, as I knew we were all arranging the same song, and so thought I could do my bit to make things slightly less monotonous. After listening to a few people's covers of the track, I found a cover by a group called Beatles, whose picture you can see here, and knew that this would be ideal. Here is a little clip of their cover.
Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be.
So you can definitely hear the influence in there and how I've adapted my piece slightly to fit around a 4/4 time signature and things like that. Blues music, as the name suggests, is often based on sadness and dissatisfaction, general negative feelings. So I felt that this style would reflect the intentions of the original song. I also felt that writing in a blues style and straying from the original opened up more opportunities in terms of the arrangement. For example, using lots of seventh chords within the harmonies, as well as some echoing of the lead vocal. One more reason I deliberately used blues is because the guitar features heavily within the genre, and so I was able to utilise a guitar backing track, which helped massively with timing and pitching throughout the piece, as well as supporting the style. As I previously mentioned, I use lots of sevenths in my harmonies as they support the blues genre well and gave more colour to the piece. Originally I wanted to write my arrangement in 6/8 as this is the time signature that fits the kind of blues I wanted to write for. However, I had to change my piece to 4/4 after struggling to fit triplets into the harmonies, and I also felt that writing in 4/4 would simplify the timing for my vocalists and speed up the rehearsal process. I changed the key signature from F major to C minor. Again, most typical blues music is written in a minor key, and so to be true to the genre, I knew I wanted to change my piece to be in a minor key. But this worked out well as it reflects the lyrical content nicely. I followed a 12-bar chord progression, but made some minor changes to the timing of the progression in terms of the numbers of bars, as I didn't want it to sound too repetitive. I also resolved to a D7 chord after the second chorus section, which created almost a very short bridge, breaking away from the repeated chord progression to give some more space and interest to the arrangement. The dynamics I have used are fairly simple, but jump from one another quite quickly. The harmonies go between mezzo piano and mezzo forte quite quickly, but this just follows the natural feel for the song, so didn't pose too much of a challenge during rehearsals. I have already highlighted the difficulty I faced from trying to write the arrangement in 6/8 and changing the timing to 4/4 for simplicity and ease. An initial struggle was the general writing of the harmonies to the voices I had available to me. For instance, I've not featured a bass part in my arrangement, as I know none of my vocalists will be able to sing in that register. I made up for this by writing a tenor part to fill out the bottom end of the chords. I also felt some difficulty with where to place the triplets, and felt that the ones I used originally sounded forced and out of place. But when I relaxed into the piece a bit more and listened to it a few times as it was, I found some more natural places for the triplets to slot into the song. For instance, there are a few lyrics that lend themselves to a triplet, like yesterday, suddenly, and half the man. The vocalists in my arrangement and myself organised ourselves so that we were singing on each other's pieces. This made rehearsing so much simpler as we were all together to go over each piece we were in. Once we got going, we were very strict, making sure we had at least 2 or 3 rehearsals a week that lasted a minimum of 2 hours. Doing this made me feel more confident about the actual performance and happy with the parts being sung on my piece, but also my parts on other people's arrangements. The main thing that I felt caused difficulty within the rehearsal process was the repetition, and by this I mean that because we were all rehearsing different arrangements of the same song, some confusion was caused between arrangements and songs started to blur together a bit. However, due to the amount of time spent on each piece, it soon became easy to distinguish between each one. And here we are at our first rehearsal, looking pretty confused and not sure what we were doing. Luckily, things improved quite a lot from there on in. I'm quite happy with my finished arrangement. I feel that it captures the feel of the song and fits the genre I went for quite well. I feel comfortable and pleased with how the performance went overall. I feel that all my intentions for my arrangement were carried out and the general sound was what I was aiming for. Everyone kept in time, which had been something I was previously concerned about throughout the rehearsal process. I deliberately made the individual parts quite simple so that they would not be too challenging on the day of the performance. But I also made the parts fit together in a fairly simplistic way to ensure ease when it came to performing the piece again. The dynamics I'd included in my arrangement were followed, if slightly loosely, but I feel that even that is a victory in terms of what felt like quite a daunting task. Generally, I feel happy with what my vocalists and I achieved and what I wrote and created. So moving forward, next time what I'd do differently is I'd like to start writing my arrangement a bit sooner. This would give me more time to try different ideas and make alterations, but mainly even longer to rehearse and polish the piece, as I feel like my piece went well in the performance, but it could have been a bit more polished and a bit more detailed in terms of dynamics. If I had more time in terms of rehearsals next time, I'd spend a little more time listening to my vocalists singing the piece without me on it. This would mean being able to listen to what was going on a bit more closely and decide whether things needed to be changed or whether certain areas weren't as strong as others. Other than this, though, I feel quite happy with the way I approach this task and I'll feel confident going into the next arrangement. Also, I feel that next time our rehearsals will be much more productive right from the start because now we know the best way to approach working on the different harmonies and the sections of the arrangement.